When did you open and when did you go smoke-free?
We opened in the spring of '05 and we went smoke-free in the spring of '08. So for 3 years we had pretty much unfettered smoking indoors.
Tell me about your food versus alcohol sales.
Well, this has always been controversial in my business and opening up and trying to open up in other places, but my alcohol versus food, about 65–70% of my sales are alcohol, while about 30% or so is food. That pretty much has stayed the same. It still jumps a little bit, but that's a seasonal thing.
So I'm guessing the time of day makes a difference in terms of food versus alcohol.
Very much so. Although we still do serve a majority of alcohol, even at dinner time, 5–6 o'clock, we definitely serve a lot more food, and we're serving a lot more at that time than before. But our sales later at night have also increased as well. It's all pretty much increased or about the same, depending on how you calculate it. You can think about it a little bit much. But our sales increase has been primarily between about, from opening till probably about 9 o'clock, and then we've seen a slight increase on the later end.
So Steve, why did you allow smoking when you opened?
I've been in the business since, honestly, I was in 7th grade, and it was sort of the norm in the business. Even though I didn't particularly care for the smoking, I thought it was the way that you had to do it. And if you ever talk to certain people, and it's only really certain people, they will say it's an economic disaster to consider to do anything but have smoking in a bar, because this is a bar. And that's what I am. I'm a tavern keeper. And I listened to these folks, and I really didn't research it a bit more. And I live upstairs, so I was living with this heavy smoking environment. And I decided to then try to take it. I really wanted to go smoke-free, but I wasn't going to do it if it was going to be a poor economic decision. So I interviewed about 150, 160 of my customers, and I found out actually quite the exact opposite. While a lot of people didn't care at all, the important part to me was, were they going to come less? What I found out is about over 50% were going to come more, about less than 6% said they were going to come less, and I found out that the majority of the smokers were perfectly cool with having just to step outside and have a cigarette. And then the decision became easy, and then I found out actually it was an economic boom to me. I have a pretty diversified crowd that comes to this place. I'll have everything from teachers to union guys to hipsters to yuppies. So I'd say it's a fairly reflective of the neighborhood, although I don't think there's any perfect place for that. But the only thing that I really wish I would have done is I wish I would have made this decision earlier. It was a smart decision economically, it was a smart decision in terms of the health of myself and my employees and my customers.
Okay, so how many employees do you have, and how is going non-smoking affected them?
I think I register with the license collector's office as I think it's like 12 or 13 full-time. That probably spreads out to about mid-20s, because it's mostly a lot of part-timers in this business. Majority of my employees are also smokers. Some of them are very heavy smokers. What I found out with about 2 exceptions, at least at the time I did that, they were either accepting or supportive of the policy move. In fact, they were very pleasantly surprised. Some of them thought the worst case scenario would happen, and in fact quite the opposite happened. It was actually, again, it was a bump to our business, and they were very happy. What I found out, some of them were even smokers. If they were feeling slightly under the weather, they would not show up to work because they couldn't physically undergo the secondhand smoke. I had one woman who's a chain smoker, but she just couldn't do it. And then when she found out, she was actually very happy that she wouldn't have to be in this environment where, she might, it's really hard on your respiratory system. Even though if you do smoke, most of those people don't actually even want to be in the secondhand smoke environments.
So any advice you would offer to other establishments out there?
I would talk in depth to a lot of customers, and I would not listen too much to someone that gets particularly shrill on either side of the issue. I would find out primarily if they would really come less. That's the important part to find out. A lot of them would be fine. I mean, ask them, would it be okay, you think? Do you think you'd really come less if this was the case? I have a study up on the Royale.com, and I'm going to put it up on the top story so people can look at it for the next week or two. Which outlines this entire study. And it's a pretty long study of it, and I would suggest going to the website, reading about it, and then conducting a similar study yourself, so you can make that decision yourself as well.
Cool. Thank you.
My restaurant is Crepes in the City. We're located in the heart of downtown on 14th Street, 500 14th Street, one block south of Washington Avenue. We offer very fresh, healthy, delicious crepes and salads and other items, and
Waffles too.
Waffles too, and we're working on appetizers, around our crepes. So we're revolving the fresh ingredients, fruits, vegetables, and some meats. And
did you ever contemplate having a smoking section?
Actually, no. There was not ever that option in my restaurant.
And why is that?
Well, first of all, I'm not a smoker, but that's not a good reason, I think. I think there's several layers of reasons, and I would say aesthetic, ethical, health-wise, sensory. If I'm offering food, and one of the first senses that gets excited with good food is the olfactory sense. So I wouldn't interfere, with the smoke. It would be like completely unthinkable to have those together. And more and more people are being aware of health issues with the smoking, so I'm aware of that too. And out of respect for the people that come, my customers, most of them, I'm sure they do not smoke. I think that the number of people that are not smoking is increasing. And then, this is enclosed. I wouldn't go any length to have structures or anything for smoking. Health issues, employees don't wash their hands immediately after, or people that are smoking, or I just don't want to mix food and cigarettes.
So what advice would you offer to other restaurant owners?
Well, I can understand the concern of restaurant and bar owners to not want to exclude smokers, because a lot of people will not go and they will have less business. But I would maybe ask them to consider, what about the other way around? What if it was a non-smoking space and people like to go and have a drink with their friends, have a night conversation, maybe 2 or 3 drinks, and feel like the environment is open and smoke-free, and maybe they could gather another kind of clientele.
So besides food, you also have alcohol here as well. What's your percentage of food versus alcohol?
I would say 80% food versus 20 alcohol. And the thing is that we encourage people to have food paired with wines that we have chosen. There's eclectic beers and some drinks, some cocktails from Latin America. We encourage people to have, a nice brunch or lunch or dinner with a glass of wine. But I wouldn't say that we're a bar.